All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. You see the QR code up there in the top right of your screen. That's from our friends over at Caesars Sportsbook. Great opportunities from our friends over at Caesars Sportsbook. Not only can you always bet risk-free up to $1,500 by using the promo code FM15, that is the letter F, the letter M, 15. But right now, leading into game week, which is going to be August 26th for the Saints, and then September 4th, the opener for LSU. Our friends over at Caesars Sportsbook are giving you an opportunity to walk away with 4 tickets to each of them. If you want to go to the Saints game, Saints versus Chargers inside the Caesars Superdome, August 26th, last preseason game for the Saints at home, only one. Use the promo code JCSaints15, JCSaints15. Or if you want 4 tickets for LSU Florida State inside the Caesars Superdome coming up on September 4th, use the promo code JCLSU15, JCLSU15. Now, caveat here, if you're already signed up, you're going to need a new email address because you got to be a new customer. So get a new email address or just use one of your other email addresses. Sign up for the Caesars Sportsbook promo we got going on over there. Give yourself a chance to win 4 tickets to either Saints, Chargers, preseason action on the 26th of August, or LSU, Florida State. Tickets for 4 for the opener. You do have to make a deposit and a bet to be entered to win. You can't just sign up. Make a bet. All right, our guy, Sammy Spiegelman. Saw him on Saturday. A lot of faces inside the crowd over there at Catholic High School as Shelton Sampson, the 5-star wide receiver, made his announcement. Going to LSU. Big one for Cortez Hankton, Brian Kelly, and the crew. How big? We find out now from our friend Sammy Spiegelman, who is down in South Louisiana with the pups to the side of him, shooting a rap video this morning, bro. Looked like the cover of the Chronic 2001. Sammy, good morning.
God.
How you doing, brother?
I can't complain. I'm here with the pups, so I really can't complain.
I would not call them pups to their face, though, bro. Jawline of my guy over the right shoulder there looks like Suge Knight. Sammy, it was great seeing you on Saturday, brother. How big of a pickup was that for LSU? Another 5-star wide receiver pledges to Brian Kelly and the Tigers.
Yeah, you could talk about, this from multiple layers, from the kind of kid that Shelton is, what he represents, the kind of player that he's going to turn into, what it means on the recruiting trail. And every way, this is colossal for LSU. There's a ton of kids in Louisiana that are getting ready to make their decisions before their senior year. And if LSU is in the mix, to see a 5-star like Shelton Sampson from Baton Rouge decide to commit before the season, it's very atypical for kids from Catholic to do this so early. They usually tend to wait. So for Shelton to do it, it speaks volumes. LSU is now sitting with a fantastic wide receiver class. I heard you obviously before. We're talking about the depth of the wide receiver room. Look what they got coming in with Shelton and Jalen Brown, another 5-star, consensus 5-star. Kyle Parker from Lovejoy in Texas is a polished receiver. And you think, like I said, this is a guy that Alabama wanted, that A&M wanted. Those are your conference rivals. That Florida State tried to enter the mix. It was just about kind of finding the right way to recruit Shelton, and you got to credit Brian Kelly and his staff all the way down, and that includes obviously Coach Hankton, but Joe Sloan, Jordan Arcement. Funny little story. Jordan Arcement threw Shelton his first offer as a freshman when he ran his 40 at the Catholic Combine during COVID. And you forget that Virginia was Shelton's first offer, and that was from Jordan, which is a very unique connection, obviously 3-4 years later.
Bring me back to that day. I remember that day, the day that Catholic High had that on-campus pro day, and the legend of Shelton Sampson being born right there. I mean, this could go down in the next couple of years as almost like a legendary recruiting tale, right?
Absolutely, and you have to credit Coach TWITTA for what he did for Catholic at this point. I mean, this was the beginning of COVID. No one was sure whether you could go outside or be around people. But people in Texas, people in Louisiana, they don't know how to get their kids recruited the same way without spring football, without media or coaches coming by the high school to prop up their players. So for TWITTA held a combine, put them through all the same drills, through individual position workouts. We filmed everything Shelton did when he ran his 40. Now remember, Shelton was a goofy looking sophomore at 6'3" and 180 something pounds. And he ran a 4.36, and I looked at Jarrett Roser, who you all know, and my jaw just dropped. And Gabe said, run it again. And he ran it again, and he ran 4.35. And we put it out, and within hours, Jordy, Virginia, Mississippi State, Florida, Alabama, Georgia, and then LSU, all within a week. And that's one thing, obviously, like you said, you can tear up the combine, but Shelton has continued to get better each year playing football. Catholic doesn't throw the ball a ton. He averages 20 yards every time he touches the football. On the 7-on-7 side, you see the way he high points the football, can go beat double, triple teams. He's unguardable. He plays elite corners in his own district. He's going to line up against Jordan Matthews this year. He's going to have to play against Kylan Jackson, one of the four-star safeties from Zachary at some point. He plays against great competition. He dominates every time he touches the football. He's an All-American. It's a colossal get. And Gabe TWITTA got his recruitment going, and schools around the country adopted that kind of style to get their kids recruited during COVID. So it was a great idea by Gabe.
Gabe and Florida State won't let up, I'd imagine, even after Saturday's news, because it feels like they are closer than a lot of people will make them to be here. Even though LSU was the presumed favorite on Saturday, and at one time A&M felt like they were over his recruitment, Florida State has really closed the gap here between LSU and was a very close second, if I'm reading it correctly, on Saturday.
That's what my reporting was. I think that LSU felt that A&M was the biggest competition, with a lot of kids in the Baton Rouge area. With the transition from Coach O's staff to Coach Kelly's staff, there's a lot of holdover at A&M still that is helping A&M continue to recruit these guys in Louisiana and in particular Baton Rouge. After the visit, it seemed as if Florida State was giving Shelton the biggest run for his pledge. And, for every different recruit, every kid, everything is prioritized differently. Some want to see the field early. Some want to, go and play in the SEC. Some want to go on the relationships. And for Shelton, it was all about relationships. And Gabe, obviously, he was the former prep coach. They won a state championship together, got him recruited. From what I understand, I don't even think he ever said no to Gabe because they are so close. It would have torn him up to say no to him. They're going to be close. They're going to be tied together at the hip forever. And Gabe is going to be a star in this business one day, and he's on his way. Agreed.
Sam Spiegelman is on Twitter at Sam Spiegs. Make sure you keep up with all of the recruiting information there. One of the best at On3. You can find him at Sam Spiegs. You mentioned Kylan Jackson. He's set to announce here over the next couple of days. Maybe today. Is it today? Is that today, Sandy? Yeah. Where is he trending?
So we're gonna announce. He's gonna announce a little bit later. He's gonna push this back. We're gonna put that out when we get off air. This has become a very tight race, and the thing about Zachary is you saw with Eli Holstein had a rigorous recruiting process, flipping from A&M to eventually Alabama. We just saw their edge rusher flip from Nebraska to Auburn.
Oh wow!
At Zachary now is they started 2-a-days today, so they said, Kylan, if you want to commit now, that once 2-a-days start, you need to be sure. A&M and LSU are going to be his two finalists. We're going to put that out shortly. And it's still up in the air. They're still trying to figure it out. He just wants to be sure. He thinks that he'll be able to have a decision by Saturday. A&M, Coach Bowen, Coach Rushing, making it really tough. Jimbo Fisher has been involved with Kylan. They got some familiarity. Jordan Gilbert is on that roster over there. So they got some Louisiana guys. Jacoby Matthews is making a dent over there, and Kylan has seen that. It's about depth chart. It's about what way are they going to use the 6'3", 195-pound safety that is reminding me a ton of Grant Delpit, by the way.
Wow.
But LSU is also still in this. Kerry Cooks is a big fan of Kylan Jackson. We mentioned Jordan Arseman, who's known Kylan forever. Joe Sloan is working obviously with all the in-state kids, and I think that he will have a decision, and then here in the next couple of days, and it's between these two SEC West rivals.
Back to another safety, Derek Williams. Where is his recruitment stand right now? He's been pledged to the University of Texas for a couple of weeks now, but we have all anticipated LSU and other schools not to let up on him. What are you hearing on the Westgate safety?
Yeah, I think his recruitment is, quote unquote, shut down for the next couple of weeks, months as Westgate tries to repeat as 4A state champions, but that does not mean that any school has stopped recruiting the Raptor out of Westgate. I can tell you for sure that LSU and Alabama aren't going to let up. Mm-hmm. And Texas has to keep recruiting him. They just got him on campus, obviously, over the summer, but it's a long ways to go. And you guys know this. When you're an in-state kid, it's hard to keep an out-of-state pledge if the school really wants you from your home state. And LSU has not taken their foot off the gas. From talking to people out there in New Iberia, They say that Derek is fully locked in with Texas. That's all the signs that I've gotten from him as well. But it's August 8th, and we'll see how the season goes, and we'll see how, like I said, it's hard. If you're Terry Joseph and Steve Sarkisian, you need to keep recruiting these Louisiana kids as hard as you're recruiting the guys in your own state. And that'll be the emphasis for this Texas staff as they recruit Derek and Arch Manning. And, they're recruiting a lot of Louisiana guys. So we're going to see what they're made of. But I know that Alabama, they just got a commitment from the number one safety in the country, and Caleb Downs. Their eyes are still on Derek Williams and a different role in their secondary. And I think Alabama has the number one recruiting class in the country again. So it wouldn't surprise me to see them tack onto it. And LSU, they're obviously after Kylan Jackson. Whether they miss or get him, I don't think it even makes a difference because they're recruiting Derek in a different role, and they're very high on the Raptor.
Rickie Collins is going to make his announcement on Wednesday night. We saw Rickie inside of the gymnasium on Saturday at Catholic High supporting Shelton Sampson. His recruitment has hit the grease here over the last couple of months and really taken off. He decommitted from Purdue. What do you expect on Wednesday night?
I think this is trending toward LSU. I think the home state has done a really good job of recruiting Rickie. And, I think we've spoken about this. Rickie has never he's never, left his loyalty to Purdue. And talking to him on Saturday, he still has a great relationship with the Brahms. And obviously his mind is elsewhere right now as he gets ready to make this decision on Wednesday. But I think that speaks to the kind of kid that Rickie is, that he, wanted to decommit from Purdue and give the Brahms a chance to find their next quarterback in this cycle, give him adequate time as his heart was bringing him elsewhere. Florida State got him on campus in June. I think that's LSU's biggest concern. He's talked about his relationship with Coach Yurcich and James Franklin at Penn State, but that's Happy Valley is a long way away from Baton Rouge.
Yes.
So I think ultimately this comes down to LSU, and they've dug in with Rickie since June and July, getting him on campus. I think he's been there 3 or 4 times at this stage. They've Brian. It's an interesting thing. Brian Kelly was recruiting him at Notre Dame before they offered a bunch of quarterbacks. And Tommy Rees was obviously the primary recruiter, but that's an interesting tie-in with Rickie as obviously he gets ready to make a decision on Wednesday. We talk about Joe Sloan, and Joe Sloan offered him at La Tech and is a critical reason why we think LSU is trending with Rickie. But Brian Kelly has had a relationship with him for 2+ years, and we'll see on Wednesday if that comes full circle.
If they're able to land Rickie on Wednesday, Sammy, you have covered this as well as anybody and has been connected to this. What would that mean for the quarterback room at LSU in the last 3 cycles? When you talk about Nussmeier, Howard, and if you're able to put Collins in the boat on Wednesday night, that's 3 Elite 11 quarterbacks in 3 successive cycles. I've been covering LSU for 12 years. I can't remember them sitting this healthy at quarterback ever in a cycle like they are right now.
Absolutely. I mean, it's hard to recruit if you're LSU. It's hard to recruit 5-star quarterbacks like Dante Moore to LSU when you have a quarterback room that Jaden Daniels is there. Walker Howard is a 5-star freshman, and Garrett Nussmeier is QB1 about to make his dent on college football. We're all kind of waiting on that. That quarterback room is very intimidating if you're Joe Sloan and Denbrock trying to recruit right now high-level quarterbacks that want to see the field early. Like I said, every kid is looking at different factors, and I don't know if Rickie is really scared away from the depth chart, and he's more about development and relationships. So I think we'll see how that works. But if you theoretically add Rickie Collins, and listen, if you add a 5-star quarterback or a high 4-star, I mean, they're not playing right away, and it's going to take time to develop. And all of a sudden, that room is set up, and you have different styles of quarterback, which I personally like. We've talked about this. Nussmeier is a gunslinger. He's got a sexy deep ball. He can make off-platform throws. Walker is freakishly talented when you talk about arm talent and the way he sees the field and attacks it, and his confidence is through the roof. And then, man, I was talking to Rickie about his game against Catholic High last year when he went against Shelton, and Rickie is the ultimate gamer. I like to joke around that Louisiana is a quarterback state in 2023 with Arch and Eli and Rickie and Zay behind him at Scotlandville. And Rickie is the ultimate gamer, and I think that there's one game to win and there was one quarterback to pick in this class from Louisiana, you really need to consider Rickie Collins. That dude has ice in his veins. Mm-hmm. He's a polished passer. He's an extremely gifted athlete, but the best thing about Rickie is his confidence and his poise, and that's something that you can't teach, and I'm excited to see if he lands at LSU what Joe Sloan will do with him.
What is his best quality on the field as a quarterback? He does a lot of things well, and I've seen his accuracy really be targeted as maybe his best attribute, but going to watch him play, his competitive his competitive nature jumps off at you. I mean, he is a competitor. But from a quarterbacking spot, Sammy, how do you evaluate him?
He does everything right. You can't say, oh, he doesn't have great arm accuracy or arm power. You know, he can't make this throw. He can do all that. You know, maybe, you know, Eli has a stronger arm. Arch might get the ball out a little bit quicker. So if you want to, you know, you're talking about the competitiveness, the way he sees the field, his ability. Look at what they have at Woodlawn. And this is a team that's going to go into the state semifinals at least, trust me. But they don't really have Power 5 offensive linemen. Rickie doesn't have a number one wide receiver. He's never had that. He hasn't even had really that steady of a running game behind him. But every single week, you have confidence in number one that he's going to go out there and win the game, and he's done that more often than he hasn't. He doesn't get rattled. He can drop back in the pocket and he can deliver. Trust me, he sees the field fantastically. But he can be on the move. He can get the ball out off schedule, off platform. He can run if he wants to. He's a fantastic baseball player. He's played basketball. He's done it all. But I really think that the situation never rattles him. And I don't know how many quarterbacks I've seen over the years that, including this own cycle that we're talking about, that are ranked ahead of him. When the moment is big, you see them kind of crumble. And I've never seen that with Rickie. And I think that's just what makes Rickie special. And he might not be a top 100 kid, but those intangibles you cannot teach or instill in a kid.
How about his teammate, Jordan Matthews? We saw him alongside him on Saturday. Where does he stand going into his announcement in a couple of weeks?
Yeah, he's going to be committed on a week from today. He's down to Texas, Tennessee, and Michigan. And this is trending toward Texas. They've got him on campus, I believe, 5 times now after he was on campus last month. They just made him a top priority, and Texas is rolling on the recruiting trail since they got Arch Manning on board. And in the secondary, they've attacked in-state, and Jordan has uniquely been atop of their board from the out-of-state perspective, along with Derek Williams. And you know, if Terry Joseph can come into Louisiana and get Derek Williams from New Iberia and Jordan Matthews, an LSU legacy from Baton Rouge, from Woodlawn, that would be a statement get for Texas in this 2023 cycle. Tennessee is really in this. His mom is wearing the 3 wristbands. She is given no clues. I think, you know, Jordan is a 4.0 student. He's looking at not only football and obviously development, but, you know, where he can go get the best business degree. And he's very into his business degree, and he's going to be a success away from football as well. And that's why Tennessee and Michigan are also in there, in Texas. But I think Texas has the leg up, and we'll see where he's at in a week.
A lot of people that are listening right now are curious about Nicholas Harbor and what's going on with his recruitment. What a freak of an athlete.
Yeah, I think I might have said this when I was in studio. I think he might be competing for the Olympics in a couple of years. Right. Like, he is a different kind of cat. The size, speed. He just ran a 10.2 or something. Like, Jesus, man, insane for his size. Like, you're talking about freak in the truest sense of the word. LSU is in this. You know, you see the way that they're recruiting edge rushers around the country. They're in, and LSU is on his short list. I think I've said this to you. I think Maryland is kind of a dark horse that I think people around the country are not giving as much credit to, and they've done in-state guys under Loxley. They keep them home. They did it with Rakim Jarrett a couple of years ago, who was committed all the way to signing day. I still have a lot. I consider Maryland a major threat. I know he just visited South Carolina. You know, they're selling him on being the next Jadeveon and Clowney, but I don't see that, you know, transpiring. I really do think it's a 2-team race, but I think LSU is a on campus. He's got a great relationship with Jamar Cain, and Jamar Cain is recruiting him above other nationally elite dudes. But I think that Maryland is that major threat to LSU right now.
Sammy, next time you're in town, we'll see you in studio, right?
Yes, sir.
Great to hear you this morning. Great to see you on Saturday, man. Thank you for the information.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys.
You got it. There he is. Sam Spiegelman checking in from On3 Recruiting. Make sure you follow him at Sam Spiegs on Twitter and keep up with all the things that are going on in social media. Recruiting right now is on fire, not only for LSU, but just nationally. There's a lot of things that's happening as far as recruiting goes. LSU is on fire from a recruiting standpoint. And as we said, Rickie Collins is set to make his announcement on Wednesday night, 7 o'clock. Looks like that'll be live here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Just a couple of details to iron out here today before 3 o'clock. Before we put the press release out that confirms that. Feel pretty good that that's going to happen here on the channel come Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. So make sure you are tuned in to find out where Rickie Collins will announce. All you need to do is make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube channel. And if you are subscribed, make sure you hit that alert button to keep up with the